Hello and welcome to BlueTube, where we talk all things blue, and welcome to a brief video about the transfer deadline day. And before I kick on with the news, I just want to talk about two things. The reason that this is going to be only a brief video about the transfer deadline day, and I'm not going to go into so much depth, is because of two main reasons. Number one, for those of you watching who are also subscribers of Nii Nii FC, you guys will know that yesterday, or depending on when you're watching this, at the end of transfer deadline day, around an hour after the window closed, me and Nii Nii FC did a live stream on Nii Nii FC's channel. I'll be linking his channel and the live stream directly in the description down below. And I'm sorry that I didn't actually publicize it on my YouTube channel, but those of you who are following me on Twitter would have heard about it. So that's kind of just maybe you guys should follow me on Twitter. I wouldn't mind that. But guys, that was around an hour and a half live stream with me and Nii Nii FC. We did talk about the transfer window quite extensively, so I'd highly encourage you guys to go watch that if you want to hear my opinions and Nii Nii FC's opinions about how the deadline day went and how, not only for us, but how the deadline day went for other clubs around Europe, mainly focused on the Premier League. So there's that. And reason number two, I'm actually going to be doing another live stream very soon with Blue Lions TV. And you guys will know Nii Nii FC and Blue Lions TV. They're both guys that I've collaborated with before, and I've live streamed with them before. They're both great guys. I'll link them both in the description down below. I'd highly urge you guys to go subscribe to them, so if I do a live stream on their channel, you guys can go watch it. Or if you follow me on Twitter, you guys will be notified, of course. But with Blue Lions TV, I'm going to be doing a live stream on the 3rd of September, or Saturday, the 3rd of September, 2 a.m. UK time. Once again, Saturday, 3rd, let me just check, there's my calendar, 3rd of September, Saturday, 2 a.m. UK time. That's going to be written in the description down below as well. So, I need to breathe. So if you guys just want to confirm that, it's down there. And I do understand that 2 a.m. UK time isn't the most convenient time for a lot of UK viewers who are watching this, and I do apologize, but the reason that we had to do that was me living in Dubai and Blue Lions TV living in the UK. It was very difficult for us to find a time that works for both of us and fits both of our schedule. That was the only time we could find. So 2 a.m. UK time on Saturday, 3rd of September. Hope to see you guys there. The video or the live stream will not be on my channel, it'll be on Blue Lions TV's channel. So, as I said, be sure to go click his link down below and subscribe to him so that you're notified when that video comes up. Or you can just follow me on Twitter, because I'll be notifying you guys when a live stream starts via Twitter as well. Anyway, now that that is out of the way, let's talk about today's video. In today's video, as I said, a brief recap of deadline day for us. But what does brief actually mean? Well, I want to just talk about two players, and you guys all know who I'm going to talk about. It's going to be Marcos Alonso, the left back from Fiorentina who we signed, and David Luiz, a center back who we know very well from history. And I know a lot other things happened in the transfer window, but I'll be talking about everything else with Blue Lions TV in the live stream, so I hope to see you guys there. And if you guys have any suggestions as to specific players or specific topics or specific things that you want us to talk about, be sure to leave them in the comment section down below. I would be happy to listen to your ideas and have your input so that the live stream is as entertaining for you as it is for us to record. But anyway, let's get straight into the players. The first player that I want to talk about, that didn't work. Give me a sec. There, that's not, yes. David Luiz. As I said, he's a center back who we know very well. He's Brazilian, he's 29 years old, he used to play for Chelsea previously. I think he was sold by Mourinho for a fee of £50 million around 2 or 3 seasons ago to Paris Saint-Germain. And this summer we have bought him back for a fee of £30 million. Very interesting. Another interesting thing, I said interesting like 5 times there, about this transfer. And I'm not sure if this is confirmed or official, but I read this somewhere, or from someone, I heard this from someone. I'm not sure if this is true. If you guys can confirm it, please confirm it. If you guys can deny it, please deny it. But I heard that when we initially sold David Luiz to PSG for £50 million, they paid that fee in installments rather than a direct £50 million in fee. So this summer, when we actually bought him back for £30 million, they had not finished paying their £50 million. So the fee that they still owed us kind of cancelled out of our transfer fee. So instead of paying the full £30 million for David Luiz, in reality, apparently, we only bought him, or we only paid PSG £10 million, which means that they still had around £20 million to pay us in installments of that 50 million initial fee when we sold him. So that's an interesting fact. So, you know, he's a quality player. If that is true, it's almost like we bought it for 10 million pounds, which is crazy. But there's that. As I said, he's a great player, and we know him very well. The type of player that he is a very attacking player for a defender. In fact, we played him in the midfield a couple of times, and he has scored a couple of screamers, or more than a couple of screamers, during his initial spell, or his first spell at Chelsea. And we know that he's a very rash guy, or sometimes he can be quite rash, and he can lose his focus, and that can sometimes cost us a goal. Because defensively, you know, a lot of pundits have been kind of saying that Chelsea made a great signing, but a lot of pundits have also been saying that he's sort of a defensive liability. He's going to give away yellow cards, red cards, penalties, free kicks, and you know, we do know the sort of player that he is. But I think during his time at PSG, he has matured a lot. Hopefully, he can adapt back to the competitiveness and the level of the Premier League, because compared to the League One, it's another level, I would say. So hopefully he can adapt to that quickly. Hopefully he has matured as a player, as I said, and he doesn't commit as many, you know, unnecessary fouls as he did before. But, you know, personally, I am ecstatic about the signing. You know, was it a panic buy is one question that's been thrown around. You know, I'm not sure. I think that if we had the option to sign Koulibaly for 30 million pounds, I think we would have taken that, to be completely honest with you guys. David Luiz, he kind of just came out of nowhere around probably from one day before the transfer deadline day. And rumors kind of surfaced. People were unsure if this was even real or if this was going to happen. And it eventually happened. So guys, tell me what you think about this transfer in the comment section down below. Is he a great signing? Is he going to bolster our defense? Or do you think he's just going to be a defensive liability, giving away free kicks, giving away penalties, picking up yellow and red cards, and kind of making mistakes and worsening our defense? Personally, I think he's going to add a lot. And one point that, you know, Nii Nii FC brought up in our live stream yesterday, spoiler alert, is that he kind of adds a lot offensively going forwards. And more specifically speaking, he loves making those long passes, you know, up front, kind of like John Terry. But if you guys consider, we have Diego Costa as our striker, who is amazing at picking up long balls and finishing them. In fact, you know, the Fabregas-Diego Costa combo has worked so well because Fabregas is such a good long passer and Diego Costa can control it and finish it calmly. And Nii Nii FC was saying, you know, imagine the potential if we have David Luiz pinging those balls forward, to Diego Costa, how many more chances he'd get, how many more goals he could get. That is, you know, a very, very exciting thing. But one thing that we have to consider, and I want to hear your thoughts about this, and I asked this question to Nii Nii FC as well, and you guys can watch the live stream for his response. But do you think David Luiz should go straight into the Chelsea first team? Or do you think we should stick with John Terry and Kurt Zouma when he comes back from injury? And that is a question that I really don't know how to answer. I think John Terry is our best center back so far, best center back in our team right now. I honestly do. You know, the leadership that he brings, the mentality that he brings is great as well. But also, from a pure footballing perspective, he's got incredible positioning. His aerial, you know, he wins like almost every aerial duel that he's, you know, a part of. And he's great at interceptions, he's great at positioning, he's great at tackling. And, you know, he just adds so much to the team, especially in the defense. So I think he really does deserve to stay, you know, if you considering his performances so far this season. Of course, you have Gary Cahill. I think he's going to be dropped when Kurt Zouma eventually comes back from injury. The question is, how well will Kurt Zouma perform? Will he be able to retain the first team position in the battle against David Luiz? Or do you guys think that John Terry will be moved into the bench and David Luiz will play alongside Kurt Zouma? Nii Nii FC, you know, he said that he thinks David Luiz will play along Kurt Zouma. Actually, anyway. He said he thinks Luiz with Zouma. But I really, really believe that John Terry should be in the starting 11. So for me, it's a question between Zouma and David Luiz. And personally, you know, I honestly don't know who I would prefer to have there. You know, on one hand, Kurt Zouma is he's a young defender. He's only around 21 years old, maybe 22 years old. You know, he's great in the air, he's great at tackling, he's very, very fast, which is very exciting. But we also have David Luiz, you know, who's got experience, and he kind of, you know, he's got a lot of experience. He's played at the top teams at the highest level in the Champions League, you know, and you know, but the thing is, he's 29 years old. So there's kind of a question between who do we play. And 29, to be completely fair, isn't that old for a center back. He's still probably got 3-4 years left in him, and I think he signed a 3-year contract for now that could be extended in the future, of course. So it's going to be interesting. But something to consider as well, though, before you guys type in the comments who you prefer or which pairing you would prefer in center back positions, is if we had Kurt Zouma and David Luiz at center back, they're both very, very pacey defenders. So we'd be able to, maintain a higher line of defense, meaning that we can put more pressure in the opposition's half, more pressure going forwards, and potentially, pick up the ball, or when we lose possession, get it back very, very quickly, because we'll have more players squished into their half of the pitch. And that is something that's potentially very, very exciting. But as I said, I think that John Terry should be in the team. I really want John Terry to stay in the team. So for me, it's a question of John Terry with Zouma or David Luiz, and I honestly don't know who I prefer out of Zouma or David Luiz. I'd love to hear your thoughts and discuss this with you guys in the comment section down below. Second player that we signed yesterday, Marcos Alonso, probably a player that we're a lot less familiar with. He's a left back from Fiorentina. He's Spanish. I think he's 25 years old, or maybe 26. I'm pretty sure 25 years old. He came from Fiorentina. Previously, he has played in the Premier League for Bolton Wanderers and for Sunderland, so he does kind of have an idea about the physicality and how demanding the league actually is. So I think this is a very interesting signing from our perspective. Marcos Alonso, if you just look on Twitter, for example, you'll see like this divide between Chelsea supporters. One half that says, he's a panic buy. We didn't really want him. He's not the player that we need, and he's just gonna flop. We just bought him for the sake of buying someone on deadline day. That is one half. Another half is saying, he was actually our first choice. Conte wanted him from the beginning. And we should put faith in our manager, we should put faith in the decisions that he makes, and see how Marcos Alonso does. And personally, as someone who doesn't follow Serie A that extensively, I don't really know how good Marcos Alonso is. I haven't watched him game in, game out like I have with a lot of other players in the Premier League especially. So I can't really judge him yet. So I'm going to give him a few games to sort of impress me or disappoint me or whatever. But I do think what's interesting to consider is that throughout this entire window, we were only linked with 2 fullbacks. Number 1, Ricardo Rodriguez. Number 2, Marcos Alonso. And something that Nii Nii FC pointed out in the live stream was that, what's his name? Ricardo Rodriguez, that was all that speculation was created by the fans. There's actually no official kind of newspaper or news article or journal who reported that Chelsea are interested in Ricardo Rodriguez. That was completely a fantasy by the fans, which means that if you think about it, the only fullback that we were linked with through this entire summer transfer window was Marcos Alonso. And if you think about it like that, he's the only player, left back that we were linked with, or only fullback that we were linked with. So it's logical to conclude that he indeed was our first choice fullback, which is interesting to say. Now a lot of people would then say, why did we wait until deadline day to sign him? Why didn't we wrap this deal up earlier? And there's a lot of questions to be thrown around. But I think I'm personally convinced that Marcos Alonso was the first priority or the first choice fullback for Antonio Conte. That is my personal opinion. In fact, actually, I don't think I mentioned his price tag yet. He was actually brought in for £23 million. And what's interesting about that is, apparently, and this is just reported by some journals online, they were saying that on deadline day, Chelsea were kind of astonished at how much Fiorentina were asking for the player. And of course, when it's deadline day, people charge more because clubs are more desperate. And maybe that's what Fiorentina were doing. And apparently, the Chelsea board were shocked at how much they were asking for, but because it was deadline day, they had to suck it up and just pay the money of £23 million. So maybe that suggests, that Chelsea didn't really want him. They were just waiting until deadline day to buy him. But there hasn't been any kind of big publication that have suggested that. It's just been at the Daily Mail, Daily Star, who aren't very reliable with their news. So I am convinced that he was our first choice left back or fullback as a whole. So I think that makes me very, very excited as to what I can see from him, because obviously Antonio Conte sees something in him. So that's going to be really interesting to see. But what's also going to be, what I'm going to be watching for is whether Conte puts him straight into the first team and moves Azpilicueta to the right, which means we would have to drop Ivanovic, or whether Azpilicueta and Ivanovic would maintain their spots, and whether Marcos Alonso would go onto the bench. That is something that I'm going to be interested to see. Personally, I hope that Azpilicueta moves to the right and Marcos Alonso get his debut, at left back. That is what I hope to see, and I think our next game is against Swansea. No disrespect to them, but they haven't had the best of starts to the Premier League. So, Marcos Alonso, I think it would be a good place for him to make his debut. So I think, we should start with Marcos Alonso and Azpilicueta on the right, with Ivanovic on the bench. But knowing Antonio Conte, he seems to like Ivanovic a lot. He seems to see something in him, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Ivanovic play right back and Azpilicueta maintain his left back spot. But if he does decide to do that, that brings up the question of whether he's actually going to eventually be a first-team player, or whether we just bought him to be that kind of backup player. And also another question that comes up is, with the signing of Marcos Alonso, what happens to the future of Ola Aina? And what's interesting is Ola Aina, he didn't go out on loan. He stayed with the team. He played quite a lot in preseason. He played against Bristol Rovers as well. He started against them, in fact. But what's interesting is, from this season onwards, or maybe next season onwards, I can't remember actually, because there's a change in loan policy, where they got rid of the emergency window, is what they called it, which basically meant that loan deals could happen until September and October as well previously. But I think either from this season or from next season, they're going to abolish that. So all loan deals have to happen within the designated summer transfer window or the winter transfer window. So if that is in place for this season, which actually I don't think it is, but if that's in place, Ola Aina won't be able to go out on loan. So that does bring into question, is he going to get a crack at the first team this season? Or is it just going to be a question of Azpilicueta, Ivanovic and Marcos Alonso kind of rotating around, with Ola Aina just being left out? I'd like to hear your thoughts on this, guys. Would you have liked to see Chelsea put more faith into our youngster, into Ola Aina, giving him an opportunity? Or are you happy that we brought in someone who's more experienced, who knows the Premier League in and out, and someone who can hopefully kind of bring some new energy and spirit into our defense? So let me know, guys, and also let me know which pairing you would like to see. Would you like to see Azpilicueta and Ivanovic, or would you like to see Marcos Alonso and Azpilicueta given a go against Swansea like I do? Be sure to tell me down below, guys. And I think that wraps the video for today. I don't know how long this is. Actually, no. One thing. David Luiz, I wanted to mention one thing. With the signing of David Luiz, what a lot of pundits are saying, a lot of professional, football pundits who know their stuff, are saying that this suggests Conte is kind of moving towards playing a 3-back formation. Because as I said, David Luiz is someone who's very attacking. He likes to go forwards. He likes to attack. He likes to get involved with the play. So, having a center back like that, it would in fact make a lot more sense to go with a 3-5-2. And the signing of Marcos Alonso as well suggests that, maybe he's going to be the left wing back, Azpilicueta can be the right wing back. And then, because Ivanovic isn't fast enough, or isn't fit enough to be at the wing back position. So a lot of pundits are saying Antonio Conte is looking at a 3-back formation with the arrival of David Luiz. Tell me if you guys think that's going to happen. Personally, I don't think that's going to happen for the reasons, I've been talking about this for the entire summer actually. Which formation is Conte going to play? And repeatedly I have said, we're not going to play a 3-back because we have way too many wingers who are so incredibly talented. Eden Hazard, Willian, Pedro, there's one more, Moses, and of course Cuadrado's left, Kennedy's left, and I think I'm missing one. I can't remember. But we have some incredible wingers. If we decide to play a 3-back, we'd have to have Azpilicueta, or we would probably have Azpilicueta and Marcos Alonso in the wing-back positions, meaning, where do our wingers go? We have so much quality, so much depth in the wing positions. It would be a waste if we were to use a 3-back formation, in my opinion. And of course, if we decide to play the wingers in the wing-back positions, that brings into the question, is Marcos Alonso and Azpilicueta going to be sitting on the bench? Then why did we even sign Marcos Alonso in the first place? If you kind of get what I'm saying. So I don't think we're going to play a 3-back formation. I think we'll stick to either a 4-4-2 or a 4-2-3-1. One of those two formations, which is what Conte has been experimenting with, since the beginning of preseason. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. But guys, I think that is finally the end of the video. If you guys want more extensive, more deeper, because a lot happened this deadline day, not only for Chelsea, for tons of different clubs, a lot happened. In fact, for Chelsea as well, we loaned out a lot of interesting players. We didn't loan out a few interesting players as well. And I'll be sure to talk about that with Blue Lions FC in our live stream. 2 a.m. Saturday, 3rd of September 2016. So be sure to watch that live stream. And actually, just before I end this video, I want to end on this note. One thing that didn't happen this transfer deadline day was the departure of Fabregas, and I was so happy. You know, there was a rumor that, in fact, I don't think it was even a rumor. It's official that, you know, AC Milan made a bid for Chelsea, or made an approach for Fabregas, and Fabregas himself personally rejected. So, you know, he does have a desire to stay at the club. Hopefully Antonio Conte can involve him more in the system, because he, in my opinion, is one of the most important players in our team. If we want to be attacking, if we want to get that ball moving quickly, and, you know, making our play a lot more fluid. And in fact, if you guys know this, my jersey is Fabregas' jersey. So if we had sold him on deadline day, this jersey is just completely pointless. So I'm glad that we kept hold of him. But guys, tell me your thoughts on everything that happened in the transfer window. Especially these two players who I mentioned today, David Luiz, Marcos Alonso. Are you excited? Are you disappointed? Are they great signings, or are they panic buys? Tell me your thoughts in the comment section down below, and I will hopefully see you guys in the live stream tomorrow with Blue Lions FC. Blue Lions FC? No, Blue Lions TV. I'll see you there, guys, and as always, thanks for watching, and stay blue.